The bank says the rate move is necessary to counter the effects of the ongoing plunge in the price of oil. Many analysts are warning Canadian consumers that this adjustment isn't about them. It's about big business. Here's the CBC's Scott Peterson.
Well, the message is, even though we're making it extremely easy and cheap to borrow more money, don't do it. But this is supposed to be for corporations, for investment in machinery, for example, but not for consumers that already have record high demos.
At least for now, Canada's largest bank, TD, says it has no immediate plans to drop its prime rate. Nova Scotia police officials are headed to Ottawa to question a 42-year-old man arrested on a Canada-wide warrant in a dangerous chemicals investigation. A large quantity of potentially hazardous chemicals were discovered in 2 homes in the Halifax area earlier this week, and the suspect was arrested yesterday morning at an Ottawa hotel. He has been identified as Christopher Phillips, a former chemical weapons specialist with the U.S. military. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security is confirming it has been working with Canadian police. Canadian Defense Minister Rob Nicholson is at the table as the 22 countries in the coalition against ISIS are meeting today in London. CBC's Jeff Semple reports.
The conference focusing on 5 key areas in the fight against ISIS, including ways to stop the flow of funds and foreign fighters from heading to Syria and Iraq to join ISIS, and also looking at ways of possibly providing more funds, both humanitarian and military aid assistance. It's that latter point of aid specifically for Iraq's military that certainly Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi is calling for here today, pointing to the fact that despite 5 months of those U.S.-led airstrikes and hundreds of millions of foreign aid dollars, Iraq's military has yet to win a real decisive victory in its fight against ISIS, yet to take back major cities like Fallujah. So certainly all of these countries here are holding steadfast in their red line that there will be no boots on the ground, but we could see announcements coming later today of more military funds.
Here's the CBC's Jeff Semple in London. The state of Alaska has canceled its plans to overhaul a ferry terminal in Prince Rupert after the $15 million project has become the subject of a trade dispute between Ottawa and Washington. Here's the CBC's Rafferty Baker.
The dispute centered around a Buy America law that forces projects built with federal money to use American steel and iron. On Monday, Canada's International Trade Minister Ed Fast used a relatively obscure law to block Buy America on this project. He slammed the U.S. rule, calling it protectionist. In a statement, he said that applying the law on Canadian oil was unacceptable and an affront to Canadian sovereignty.
I think the overall climate is one that is conducive to solving this problem.
Patricia Eckert is an associate director for international trade at the Alaska Governor's Office. She says Governor Bill Walker refused to ask the U.S. government for a waiver, saying he supports Buy America. Eckert says the Alaska Marine Highway System will continue all of its operations in Prince Rupert. She says regular maintenance will keep the current terminal running smoothly for several years. Rafferty Baker, CBC News, Prince George.
We'll get a look today at the state of Canada's mental health. The Mental Health Commission has spent the last 8 years looking at a number of hot-button issues, such as the stress involved in providing care for aging family members. We've also been looking into Canada's suicide rate and why it is higher than in many other G8 countries. The Harper government created the Mental Health Commission back in 2007. And that is the CBC News. I'm Joe Cummings.